Cowboy Bebop's first episode, or Session Asteroid Blues, is written by Keiko Nobumoto, who worked on several episodes on Cowboy Bebop. The animation director for the episode was Toshihiro Kawamoto, and the mechanical animation director was Hirotoshi Sano. That's really all the information you need. So let's begin breaking down the animation highlight of Cowboy Bebop Episode 1, Asteroid Blues. The fight we're talking about happens kind of late in the episode and is of course the fight between Asimov and Spike. And the first thing I want to point out is how at the beginning, before the fight even starts, we clearly establish where all the characters are in relation to one another, which make it a lot easier to follow the fight later. The fight quickly begins as Spike throws the flask he stole from Asimov into the air, and we get a nice shot of the flask being blown into pieces. What's great about this scene is that it shows both Asimov and the audience that Spike has a gun and can aim it, but when he flips it back into his pocket, it demonstrates how one-sided this fight is about to be. After Spike shoots the flask, both characters leap forward and Asimov throws two punches with great anticipation. After Asimov punches fail to connect, Spike throws two kicks into his shoulder and then his head. And in this scene they also use a lot of really nice stretches and shapes with Spike's robe which he has around him. Then Spike takes a little bit of a break, waiting, and we get some nice anticipation before Spike gets a really hard kick in with a great close-up as the kick connects and Asimov is thrown back. After recovering from the kick, Asimov attacks Spike as he gets closer to the camera, making a nice transition into Spike's face as he dodges the punch by moving away from the camera. Spike throws a table at Asimov and we get a great shot of Asimov kicking it and then breaking it by throwing a punch against Spike. We then get a cool close-up of their feet on the ground showing Spike moving around Asimov. Something to note is that Spike constantly keeps moving throughout the fight, always showing how in control the character is and giving the fight a good flow. By always keeping it moving, this also helps by the handheld camera effect, following the character's punches and attacks. After Spike lands a few punches on Asimov, we get a great shot from Asimov's point of view, before Spike's fist smashes into his face and gives us a really nice close-up slow-mo shot. The camera then zooms out as Spike gets a few more hits in. And while this series is largely made to praise the animation, I have to criticize it a little bit here. Spike does this front flip, kicking Asimov's face downward, but while Spike is on the ground kind of recovering from the kick, Asimov then flies into the air from, well, basically nothing. It's a pretty small detail and most people won't notice it, but I think it's fun to point out. Luckily, the logic picks back up again, as both characters get up. Now I want to point out how consistent the area of the battle is. In this shot you can point out exactly where we started and where the characters have moved to get to where they are now. Spike then throws himself onto the table and flips around to kick Asimov. And we get another one of these great transitions, again making the fight flow better. You really gotta look out for these little details, like Spike flipping around the table, something I didn't notice my first two viewings. As Spike's kick connects with Asimov's stomach, we get another close-up slow-mo shot of Asimov's face, and we also see how the punch from before gave Asimov a nosebleed. At least I think it is, but it's kind of unclear. Something I also want to point out right now is how great Cowboy Bebop is at distributing their animation. Parts of the show are less animated, but it makes up for it with great storyboards and an engaging story. Because of this, we can get great fights like this one, and actual slow motion shots, which modern anime often replace with this. Anyways, we finally get the POV of Katarina, who is standing at the same place as the start of the fight. This nice shot also shows why she hasn't shot at Spike yet, since her boyfriend, Asimov, has been very close to Spike the whole fight. The fight is quickly stopped, however, as a ship arrives and starts firing on the characters. As Spike and Asimov flee, there is some nice animation of the tables, chairs, and awning, I had to look that word up, getting obliterated by the bullets. The great animation isn't over yet though. There's some really dynamic running animation here as Asimov almost trips over himself running from the cops. Or are these guys bounty hunters? I can't really remember, but it's not important right now. Spike casually walks onto the car and kicks a guy in the face, then kicks 2 more guys in the face before dodging the last one. The only thing I can really point out here is the funny facial expressions the guys are given as they get hammered in the face. The quote-unquote action part of this scene goes on for a little longer, but there isn't too much interesting to point out, so I'm going to end it here. Thanks for watching, hopefully I'll see you again in the next video, where I'll be analyzing animation from episode 2.